Hi, this is Jeanette. Welcome to the Bridge Within. It's Easter, April 5th, 2026. Today I want to talk to you about a dream, or maybe it's a vision I had. I honestly can't remember. It's been so long since I've had it. It's been about 10 to 12 years. And it meant something at the time that I had it, and it still means something now. And today I almost feels like it means more to me than it did at the time that I had it. When I had it, I knew it was so special that I asked my friend Nicholas, who is a very good psychic medium. And the thing I loved about Nicholas is he would tell you the truth. If spirit wasn't giving him direction when you did a reading with him, he would just tell you they're not telling me. He wouldn't make up anything. He honestly would just tell you what he got. So I honestly respected him so much. And when he would teach me how to decipher a dream, he would say it's very important to remember every single detail of the dream, including how you felt during the dream. Those two things were very important to him. So whenever you are trying to decipher a dream, or someone you know is trying to decipher a dream, you might want to explain that to them. Because I've joined some dream Facebook groups, and people, they're not very detailed in what they share. So it's really hard to help them. They don't seem to see the importance of having all those details. Anyways, Nicholas told me that he feels like it was something that was going to happen, and it wasn't. I reached into the ethers with that vision or dream, and today I want to share it with you. So I'm in Seattle at a park, and I am standing at this park looking down at the city. It's park I've been to before. I can't tell you the name. All I know is I've been there to watch fireworks before because it has a great view of the city. And in the city, I could tell that there was a storm brewing. That's what it felt like. It felt like there was some kind of storm brewing. And I don't know, felt emotional, and I could feel it brewing, and there was smoke kind of filling up the city, and it was reaching up, and then poof, it hit a crescendo. I can't say it. A crescendo. It hit a peak, and it kind of let off like what looked like a bomb. It had a mushroom cloud, and I know we always associate nuclear um, bombs with the mushroom cloud, but I've seen old footage of regular bombs being dropped, and it looks like they have a mushroom cloud sometimes too. Anyways, like I said, I felt like that was an emotional thing. And I remember I was standing with people I didn't know, and we all looked at each other, and we were very concerned about what was going on. We weren't concerned for ourselves. We were concerned for the people within that city. And we just knew there was nothing that we could do for them. And we also knew it wasn't our battle. It just wasn't our fight. So we turned around and started going up the hill. And the hill kept getting steeper and steeper. And after a while, two presidents joined us, President George Washington and President Abraham Lincoln. And they would take turns leading us. One would fall to the back to make sure no stragglers were left behind as the other one led. And like I said, they would change positions. And as we were going up the hill, it kept going steeper and steeper, but we weren't getting tired. It was easy for us to go up this hill, and we made really good time. We were going at a pretty fast pace. And eventually we hit a cliff. And we looked up the cliff, and it was just straight up and down. And we started climbing it. Easy peasy for us. It shouldn't be. I mean, we were just using our body to climb it, and it was straight up. But for us, it was super easy. And again, the presidents were leading us and making sure that no one got left behind. And while we were climbing, it was President Lincoln who was in the back. And as I looked at him, he became dark and black and looked kind of frightening. He's spindly, didn't quite look human. And then he transformed back to himself. And I didn't think much of it because we were busy climbing. And as we reached the top of the cliff, there were these beautiful beings who were dressed in white, and they glowed. They glowed with a goodness that glowed so bright that they just shined. They shined so bright we couldn't see far behind them because they kind of blocked out what was behind them. And they reached down and grabbed our hand and helped us that last little bit up to the cliff. And they were beautiful. Oh, it wasn't scary at all. We could just feel their goodness. And they were humans like us, but better. They were, I don't, they were a little different just because they glowed. They just, the light within them just shined forth and illuminated everything around them. And when we got up to the top of the cliff, I looked around and I noticed the grass was perfect. It was perfect. Every blade was beautiful. It was a perfect shade of green and perfectly shaped. And then I looked and I saw the flowers, and they too were beautiful. They were brighter, and the colors were more vibrant than anything I've ever seen before. And each petal was perfect, and the trees were beautiful. They don't look ill. Like, I look at our trees now in the Northwest and I see that a lot of them are sick. Well, these were not sick. They were in perfect health. And I could tell, I could feel in the back behind these people that were helping us that there was a city. And I'm not a city person. I really like the country. I love nature. But I knew this was a city that was so beautiful that I would not mind going there. And I knew we were going to be led there. We were going to be led there for a short term before we went to wherever we were going to go. And then the vision closed. And like I said, it has stuck with me for a long time. Even today, it means a lot to me. And when I think about it, I think that the smoke brewing in the city is all the turmoil that we are facing now. Mankind is going through things I don't think they've ever gone through before. It feels like there's a lot of anger and a lot of fear. A lot of people are struggling, and it can be really easy to get sucked into that. But we felt, I feel like this vision told me that we are not to get trapped in that. We can be like the people of the light and give them a hand up when we see there's a way to do that that won't hurt us and won't take anything from us. We can give people a hand up, but we are not to get sucked in and dragged into all the drama. And the explosion is probably just that everything reaches, the emotional turmoil probably just reaches a peak. At least I hope it's not a real bomb. I mean, honestly, I can't tell you. But I knew people were really fighting, and they were angry and they were frightened, and it was not a place you did not want to be in Seattle at that time. It just wasn't good. And then when we were going up the hill, we were together. So I think that's just that we aren't meant to be alone. We're to be with people that are like-minded, and we're to try to find our community. And I think those people were that. I think instead of getting sucked into the drama, we were trying to rise above, and we're trying to ascend. We're trying to improve ourselves and become better people, because honestly, when you hear about all the sad things that happen in the world, there's not a whole lot we can do. But I do feel like the best thing we can do to help is to improve ourselves and to be kinder and to be more loving and to shine our light that's within us. We all have that light. Some people's light is really dim right now, but it can shine bright too. And so we're to shine that light, we're to become better and to give a hand up when we can. And the presidents, to me, they both represent freedom because this country was supposed to represent freedom in the United States, and that President George Washington was our first president. And we fought the Revolutionary War to break free from the oppression that we were feeling the from England, I believe, at the time. We wanted to be our own nation and just be free from all the taxation without representation and to live our own lives and have the ability to pursue happiness. And then President Lincoln, to me, represents freedom also because not everyone felt that freedom. Unfortunately, we had a lot of slaves. And so to me, he represents freedom of the oppressed too. So to me, they both represent freedom. And I think both of them taking turn leading us means that we are to step up and lead when we can and fall back and serve each other too. It's kind of a give and take in this world. Sometimes we'll be called to lead, sometimes we'll be called to serve. Actually, leading is serving, but sometimes, we're always called to serve. But I just think that we need to give people a chance to shine and take turns with that and let people give what they have to give to a society or a community. Communities can be really small, it can just be family. We need to respect that everyone has something to give and everyone can lead at a time. I mean, some of my best teachers are like little children, like 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds. Sometimes they speak the truth and it's something you have to hear. So we all have something to give. And then I think the going uphill is we're extending, we are becoming better people, and that's what we're supposed to do. And it's not that hard. It really isn't. Once your heart is changed, it really isn't that hard. And when we come to the cliff, that should have been really hard, but it wasn't. And we still had help, we had help from the presidents. And when I looked back and saw President Lincoln and how he looked all shadowy and dark, I think that just was a reminder from Spirit that we can't always put our trust in mankind or in others. We have to keep that connection with our God going so that we have that ability to discern and we have that ability to know what's best for us. And so that's what I think that meant. And as we reached the top and the goodness of those people who glowed with brightness, that could be us eventually. I mean, there's a long ways for us to go, but eventually that's really our goal, is to become like those people who shined so brightly, and their goodness, I've never felt goodness like that come from people. That is our goal, is to be like that. And is they were just beautiful. And I don't remember their facial features, I just remember the presence was beautiful. They illuminated love and kindness and light. And I remember the grass and the world just being so perfect. That's what we're striving for. We're trying to ascend to a new world, to a world of perfection. And I think that was a reminder that that is possible. And that city that we were probably going to go to that was beautiful and bright, I think that just lets me know that there's other things to see, there's other experiences to have. We're never done growing, we're never done exploring. We're always going to have what would that be called? Like an adventure. So that's always going to be available to us. There's always going to be something to discover. And I can't think of anything else. I feel like I covered that dream pretty well, or vision, whatever it was. And I just hope, oh, there was one thing I wanted to bring up. So we never gave up. We reached the top, we reached our goal. And of course, once we reach our goal, there's always another goal. But we would get bored if there was not always something else to move on to. But I remember the first time I went to a spiritualist church, and Jim, who I respect so much, he has such a good relationship with Jesus and with his creator. He was the first one to ever give me like a mini reading. It would be a message from spirit. And he told me he sees me as a spinning top. He says, I see you're getting tired, but spirit wants you to know to never, ever, ever give up. And he really stressed that. Again, remember, it's so important that you never, ever give up. Well, friends, it is important that you never, ever give up either. You have something to give this world. You have something to share with me and with other people in this group. So when you go into the comments, please tell us how you have been helped by others and how you have helped others, because that's what we do. I've noticed that with my friends. Like, when they're weak, I'll be strong and I'll be able to help them out of their weird funk. And when I'm feeling in a weird funk, they're strong and they help me reach towards that light again. It's a beautiful thing. We're giving each other a hand up when we need it. And that's all we need. I also remember when I was a Mormon, and I would see people in the church, they would help each other with these extravagant things. Like, we would go and paint people's houses or clean people's yards that needed help, or just, bring meals to them when they had a baby or after they weren't feeling that well. And those things were really nice. But the thing that meant the most to me was there was a new family that moved in. And we lived across from the elementary school. And about the time I would be taking my kids to walk across the street to the elementary school, this bus would come past us. And the two of the kids that were, I would say, 2 out of the 4 children that had just moved into our church would wave at us. And they would wave at us like they were excited to see us, like we were their friends. And that meant more to me than anything else that anyone had ever done for me in the Mormon church, up to the, um, to the prayers and the fasting and praying. But I was a really young mother at that time, and I felt lonely, and that just really brightened my day. And I really looked forward to seeing these children every day and knowing that they would be excited to see me. That really was a hand up for me. And that meant more to me than if they had mowed my lawn or cleaned my house. So don't ever underestimate just shining your light. It has such an impact on people. So have a happy Easter, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, this is Jeanette again. I just want to clarify that when I talk about not getting sucked into all the drama, it doesn't mean that we can't help others, that we're to be selfish. We can help where we can help, but we're not to do it to the point where it hurts us in any way. We have to be discerning. And there are times when it's totally appropriate to give a lot to someone. Like right now, I have a family member who is in her 80s and she just lost her husband. So she needs more help. And that is completely okay. There is a season and a time for everything. And In the past, she hasn't needed that much help, and now she does. And I'm glad to do that for her when I can. But when I see that it's hurting my health, I step back and I take a break. In the past, I used to feel like I had to save everyone. And in doing so, I was wearing myself down, and I wasn't really working on myself. And I was not learning the lessons that I needed to learn. And also, I was preventing the person that was doing too much for to not learn their lessons and not to grow. So there is a fine balance, and sometimes it's really hard to find it, but I know you can, and I can too, and together we'll learn to do it together. And so I hope that maybe you can give us some tips on what has worked for you in the past in learning how to have more of a balance in your life regarding helping others, knowing when to step in and when to stay out. Anyways, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye.